Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd do something different and read you a short story by Henry Lawson. Henry Lawson is one of the great Australian writers. He's literally on our currency. And if you ever see this Penguin Black Spine, please pick it up. It's very lovely. It's got these great short stories. It doesn't have his poems, but again, his short stories very lovely. There's a quote on the back by Joseph Conrad, if that means anything. He says, Lawson's sketches are beyond praise. I know. See if that means anything. But Lawson lived from the 1860s to the 1920s. He again published everything. He didn't write a novel, I don't think he did. But if he ever did, I'd 100% read it. And I'm going to be reading you the harrowing, his most famous story. I read this in school. It's lovely. The Drover's Wife. It's like 7 pages. And it talks about a mum who protects her family from a snake that's entered their house, and it's a bushland, and it's brutal and everything goes wrong. Not, it's just intense. For people who don't know, drovers were people that moved livestock across the country, and that would have taken years or a long, long time. And with the brutality of being Australia, it was rough. And this short story really talks about that, and again shining a light on the families who also were affected by the drover's lifestyle as well. So here it is. Wish me luck reading this, because I may stop and start because I'm not the best reader out loud, but it's such a great story. I thought I'd recommend it and read it to you on my channel. So here is The Drover's Wife. The 2-roomed house is built of round timber slabs and stringy bark, and floored with split slabs. A big bar kitchen standing at one end is larger than the house itself, veranda included. Bush all around, bush with no horizon, for the country is flat. No ranges in the distance. The bush consists of stunned, rotten native apple trees, no undergrowth, nothing to relieve the eye, save the darker green of a few she-oaks, which are siding above the narrow, almost waterless creek. 19 miles to the west side of civilization, a shanty on the main road. The drover, an ex-squatter, is away with sheep. His wife and children are left alone. 4 rugged, dried-up-looking children are playing about the house. Suddenly one of them yells, "Snake, mother! Here's the snake!" The gaunt, sun-browned bushwoman dashes from the kitchen, snatches her baby from the ground and holds it up to her left hip and reaches for the stick. "Where is it?" "Here, gone into the wood heap," yells the eldest boy, a sharp-faced, excited unchurn of 11. "Stop there, mother, I'll have him. Stand back, I'll have the bugger. Tommy, come here, or he'll bite you. Come here once and I'll tell you, you little wretch." The youngster comes reluctantly, carrying a bigger stick than him. Then yells triumphantly, there it goes under the house," and darts away with the club uplifted. Sorry, turn the page. Club uplifted. At the same time, the big black yellow-eyed dog of all breeds, who has shown the wildest interest in the proceedings, breaks his chain and rushes after that snake. He is a moment late, however, and his nose reaches the crack of the slabs, and just at the end his tail disappears. Almost at the same moment, the boy's club comes down, and the skin of the alpha-nosed alligator takes a small notice of this and proceeds to undermine the building, but he is stubborn after a struggle, and chained up, they cannot afford to lose him. The drover's wife makes the children stand together near the doghouse, while she watches for the snake. She gets 2 small dishes of milk and sets them down near the well-tempt, and as it waits to come out. But an hour goes by, and it does not show itself. It is near sunset, and thunderstorm is coming. The children must be brought inside. She will not take them into the house, for she knows the snake is there. And many of the moment come up through the cracks in the rough slab floor, and she carries several armfuls of firewood into the kitchen, and takes the children there. The kitchen floor has no floor, or rather an earthed one, called ground floor. In this part of the bush, there is a large, roughly made table in the center of the place. She brings her children in and makes them get on the table. They are 2 boys and 2 girls, mere babies. She gives him some supper, and then, before it gets dark, she goes to the house and snatches up some pillows and bedcloths, expecting to see or lay her hand on the snake any minute. She makes a bed on the kitchen table floor for the children and sits down beside it to watch all night. She has an eye on the corner and green slabbing club laid relentlessly on the dresser by her side, together with her sewing basket and a copy of Young Lady's Journal. She has brought the dog into the room. Tommy turns in under protest, but says he'll lie awake all night and smash that blinded snake. His mother asks him how many times she has told him not to swear. He keeps his club under his bedclothes, and Jackie protests, "Mummy, Tommy's skinning me alive with his club. Make him take it out." Tommy, "Shut up, you little. Do you want to be bit by the snake?" Jackie shuts up. "If you're bit," Tommy says after he pauses, "you'll swell up and turn red and green and blue all over, and then you'll bust. Won't he, mother?" "Now then, don't frighten the child. Go to sleep," she says. The two younger children go to sleep, and now Jackie complains of being skeezed. More room is made for him. Presently Tommy says, "Mother, listen to them, little possums. I'd like to screw their blankly necks." And Jackie protests drowsily, but they don't hurt us, the little blanks. "Mother, there, I told you you'd teach Jackie to swear." But the remark makes her smile. Jackie goes to sleep. Presently Tommy asked, "Mother, do you think they'll ever extinct the kangaroo?" "Lord, how am I to know, child? Go to sleep." "Will you wake me up if the snake comes out?" "Yes, go to sleep." Near midnight the children are all asleep, and she sits still, sewing and reading it by turns. From the time she glances around the floor and wall plate, and whenever she hears a noise, she reaches for her stick. The thunderstorm comes on, and the wind rushing through the cracks of the slab wall, threatens to blow out her candle. She places it on a sheltered part of the dresser and fixes up a newspaper to protect it. At every flash of lightning, and the cracks between the slab gleam like polished silver, the thunder rolls and the rain comes down in torrents. Alligator lies at full length on the floor, with his eyes turned towards the petition. She knows by this time that the snake is there. There is a large crack in the wall opening under the floor of the dwelling house. She is not a coward, but recent events have made her shaken by her nerves. A little son of her brother-in-law was lately bitten by a snake and died. Besides, she has not heard from her husband in 6 months, and is anxious about him. He was a drover and started squatting here when they were married. Next page. When they were married. The drought in 18 ruined him. He had to sacrifice the remainder of his flock to go droving again. He intends to move the family into the nearest town when he comes back, and in the meantime his brother, who keeps the shanty on the main road, comes over about once a month with provisions. The wife has still a couple of cows, 1 horse, and a few sheep. His brother-in-law kills one of the sheep occasionally, gives her what she needs of it, and takes the rest to return to other provisions. She is used to being left alone. She once lived like this for 18 months. As a little girl, she built she built the casual castles in the air, but all her girlish hopes and aspirations had been long dead. She finds the excitement and recreation she needs in Young Lady's Journal, and heaven help her, takes pleasure in the fashion plates. Her husband is an Australian, and so is she. He is careless but a good enough husband. If he had the means, he would take her to the city and keep her there like a princess. They are used to being apart, or at least she is. Not us fretting, she says. He may forget sometimes he is married, but he has a good check when he comes back, and you'll give her most of it. When he has the money, he took her to the city several times, hired a railway sleeping compartment, and put up the best hotels. He also brought a buggy and and they had to sacrifice that along with the rest. The last two children were born in the bush, one while her husband was burying a drunken doctor by force to attend to her. She was alone on this occasion and very weak. She had been ill with a fever. She had prayed to God to send in assistance. God sent Black Mary, the whitest jinn in all the land. Jinn meaning indigenous, Aboriginal people. All the land, or at least God sent King Jimmy first, and he sent Black Mary. He put his black face around the doorpost and took the situation at a glance and said cheerfully, "All right, missus, I bring my old woman down, she down along the creek." One of the children died while she was alone. She rode 19 miles for assistance, carrying the dead child. It must be near 1 or 2 o'clock. The fire is burning low. Alligator lies, resting his head on his paws and watching the wall. He is not a very beautiful dog to look at, and the light shows numerous old wounds where the hair will not grow. He is afraid of nothing and the face of earth or under it. He will tackle a bullock as readily as he is to tackle a flea. He hates all other dogs, except kangaroo dogs, and a marked dislike to friends or relations of the family. They seldom call. However, sometimes he makes friends with strangers. He hates snakes and has killed many, but he will be bitten someday and die. Most snake dogs die that way. Now and then the bushwoman lays down her work and watches and listens and thinks. She thinks of all the things in her own life, for there's little else to think about. The rain will make the grass grow, and this reminds her of how she fought a bushfire once her husband was away. The grass was long and very dry, and the fire threatened to burn her out. She put on an old pair of her husband's trousers and to beat out the flames with a green blow, till the great drops of sooty perspiration stood out of her forehead and ran in streaks down her blackened arms. The sight of this mother in trousers greatly amused Tommy, who worked like a little hero by her side, but the terrified baby howled lustfully for his mummy. The fire would have mastered her, but the 4 excited bushmen who arrived in a nick of time. It was a mixed-up affair all around. When she went to take the baby, he screamed and struggled convulsively, thinking it was a black man. The alligator, trusting more than a child's sense of his own instinct, charged furiously, and being old and slightly deaf, did not in his excitement and first recognize his mistress' voice, and continued to hang on the moleskins until choked off by Tommy with his saddle strap. The dog's sorrow for his blunder, and his anxiety to let it be known that it was all a mistake, and as evident as he wagged his tail, and a 12-inch grin could make it. It was glorious time for the boys, a day to look back to, and a day to talk about and laugh forever for many years. She thinks of how she fought a flood during her husband's absence. She stood for hours drenching downpour and dug an overflow gutter to save the dam across the creek. She could not save it. There are things a bushwoman cannot do. Next morning the dam was broken, and her heart was nearly broken too. For she thought how her husband would feel when he came home to see the result of their years of labour swept away. She cried then. She also thought of I can never been able to say pneumonia. Oh my God, I can't say it. Dozed and bled and few days remaining cattle, and wept again. Then, when her 2 best cows died, again she thought, a mad bullock designed beside the house for a day. She made bullets and fired at him through the cracks in the slabs in an old shotgun. He was dead the next morning. She skinned him and got 17.86 for the hide. She also thought crows and eagles have designs and their chickens Her plan of companion is a very original. The children cry, "Crow's mother," and she rushes out and aims her broomstick at the birds as though they were a gun and says, "Bung." The crows leave in a hurry. They are cunning, but the woman's cunning is greater. Occasionally a bushwoman in the horrors or a villainous-looking sundowner comes nearly scares the life out of her. She generally tells the suspicious-looking stranger that her husband and two sons are at work, below the dam or over the yard, for he is always cunning, inquires for the boss. Only the last few gallons, faced swagman, have satisfied himself. That would have not been men in the place. Threw the swag down on the veranda and determined Tucker, which is dinner pretty much. She gave him something to eat, then he expressed his intention of staying for the night. It was sundown. She got the button from the sofa, loosened the dog, and confronted the stranger, holding the baton in one hand and the dog's collar in the other. "Now ye go," she said. He looked at her and the dog and said, "All right, mum," in a cringing tone, and left. She was determined. She was a determined-looking woman, and Alligator's yellow eyes glared unpleasantly. Besides, the dog clawing apparatus greatly resembled him of a reptile he was named after. She had few pleasures to think about as she sits alone by the fire, on a guard against a snake. All days were much the same to her, but on Sunday afternoon she dresses herself down and tidies the children, smartens up the baby, and goes for a lonely walk in the bush track, pushing an old pram in front of her. She does this every Sunday. She takes as much care as herself and to the children to look smart as if she were. She was going to do this to block in the city. There is nothing to see, however, not a soul to meet. You might walk for 20 miles along the track without being able to fix a point in your mind, unless you are a bushwoman. This is because the everlasting manly sameness of the stumped trees, the monogamy which makes a man long to break away and travel as far as trains can go, and sail as ships can sail and further. But this bushwoman is used to the loneliness of it. As a girl wife, she hated it, but now she would feel strange away from it. She is glad when her husband returns, but does not gush or make a single fuss about it. She gets him something good to eat and tidies up the children. She seems content with her lot. She loves her children, but has no time to show it. She seems harsh. Her surroundings are not favorable, and the development of the womanly or sentimental side of the nature. It must be near the morning now. The clock in the dwelling house, her candle was nearly done. She forgot she was out of candles. Some more wood must go to keep the fire. So she shuts the dog inside and hurries into the wood heap. The rain cleared off. She seizes and pulls a stick and pulls it out, and crash! The whole pile collapses. Yesterday she bargained with a stray blackfellow to bring her some wood, and while he was at work, she went in search of a missing cow. She was absent for an hour or so, and the native black man made good use of this time. On her return, she was astonished to see a good heap of wood by the chimney. Then she gave that extra a fig of tobacco, and praised him for not being lazy. He thanked her, and left with head erect and a chest well out. He was the last of his tribe and a king, but he had built that deep wood hollow. She is now hurt. Tears spring to her eyes and sits again by the table. She takes the handkerchief to wipe the tears away, but pokes her eye with her bare finger instead. The handkerchief is full of holes, and she finds she has put a thumb through one and a forefinger through another. This makes her laugh to the surprise of the dog. She has very keen sense of the ridiculous, and some other will amuse her, Bushman, with the story. She has been amused like this before. One day she sat down to have a good cry. She said, Then an old cat rubbed against her dress and tried to. Then she had to laugh. Oh, and cried too, sorry. It must have been. Sorry. Um, my screen's nearly going to go flat, sorry. It must have been near daylight. The room is very close and hot because of the fire. Alligator still watches the wall from time to time. Suddenly, he becomes greatly interested. He draws himself from a few inches near the partition, and thrill runs through his body. The hair on the back of his neck begins to rustle, and a battle light in his yellow eyes. She knows that what this means, and lays her hand on the stick. The lower one of the partition slabs has a large crack in both sides, an evil pair of small bright bead eyes, like glisten like one of those holes. The snake and the black one comes slowly out of the foot and moves into its head down. The dog lies still, and the woman sits on as oh my god. The dog lies still, and the woman sits as one fascinated. The snake comes out the foot further. She lifts her stick, and the reptile, for suddenly aware of the dangers, sticks its head through the crack on the other side of the slab and hurries down to get his tail. Right around him, Alligator springs and his jaws come together with a snap. He misses, for his nose is large and his snake's body closed down on the angle formed by the slabs on the floor. He snaps, and as the tail comes around, he has the snake now and tugs out 18 inches. Thud, thud, comes the woman's club on the ground. Alligator again pulls. Thud, thud. Alligator gives the pull and has the snake out. A black brute, 5 feet long. The head raises to dart about the looking. The dog has the enemy close to its neck. He is a big, heavy dog, but quick as terrier. He shakes the snake as though he had felt the original curse of common with mankind. The eldest boy wakes up, seizes the snake, and tries to get out of bed. And tries to get out of bed, but his mother forces him to get back with a grip of iron. Thud, thud, the snake's back is broken in several places. Thud, thud, its head is crushed, and the alligator nose skinned again. She lifts the mangled reptile onto the point of her stick and carries it and throws it into the fire, and watches the snake burn. The boy and the dog watch too. She lays her head on the dog's head, and all the fierce, angry lights dies out in the dog's yellow eyes. The younger children, quieted and possibly go to sleep. The dirty-legged boy stands for a moment in his shirt, watching the fire. Pleasantly, he looks up and sees the tears in his eyes, and throwing his arms around her neck, exclaims, "Mother, I ever want to go droving. Blast me if I do." She hugs him, and worn out. Sorry, oh my god, I can't do this. Mother, I won't ever go droving. Blast me if I do. And she hugs her to her worn out breast and kisses him, and they sit thus together while the stickly daylight breaks over the bush. So that was the story. I'm sorry for the pauses and stuttering. I'm not the best reading out loud, but that was The Drover's Wife. Very powerful, and it's very it's such an iconic story. But yeah, that was the poem. Let me know what you thought about in the comments below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I'll see you next time.